That's great. Are you okay? Yes? Do you feel happy to be here? Yes? Can you say yes? Great. So I'm very pleased to be here, and I really enjoy this new, type of panel because maybe you probably think, as like to me, panels are so boring sometimes. So we're gonna experience something different this year, and well, let's have some great experience together. So I'm very pleased to welcome for the first panel I'm moderating today two guys, Marion MOREAU, investor at Index Venture, and David BUTTRESS, CEO of Just Eat, for the food delivery wars. Welcome, guys. How do you doing?
Very
Fine?
well, thanks.
Yes?
Yeah.
You're coming from London?
Yes, straight from London.
You work at the capital of Tech City?
Yes.
For
in
about
Europe, yeah.
how many years in London?
I've been 8 years in London.
Yes. You invest in startups and tech companies?
Yeah, so I spent about a quarter of my time in Paris. I made 6 investments here. With Index, we have about 9 now, and the rest in the rest of Europe and in the US.
Okay. So we are also welcoming David. Hi, David. You're from you're Danish, actually.
Oh, British.
British. Just Eat. What's Just Eat exactly? You're specialized in food. You're like the fast food online. Is it exact?
So Just Eat is a website that we actually IPO'd a year ago on the London Stock Exchange. It's a 15-year-old company. We have around 55,000 restaurants across the world in 15 markets, and we'll turn over around 250 million euros this year in revenue. And our core consumer proposition is absolutely that, is to connect local consumers to local takeaway restaurants.
The food delivery is like, a fantasy. Who has never dreamed, of picking up some great food from its living room and then just enjoy this experience? What is your statement about that? Do you have the same dream as we also have,
Yeah, I think that's the convenience of eating at home is huge. There's been a bunch of steps in the evolution of the industry. So first you had to call your local takeaway. Then Just Eat came over and made that much easier online, so you could order online, know when your order was ready, when your driver was on the way. And then there is now a next generation of food delivery services that also some integrate with the delivery only, and some integrate the delivery and the food preparation as well. So we're getting into a more and more convenient experience.
You just posted recently a great post on TechCrunch US, which is called, a billion. I'm just looking for the exact title. It's $1 billion Food Delivery Wars. How can we talk about wars into this field?
Well, so first I didn't use the word war. It's something that the TechCrunch editor used because I think it's more, it creates a bit more excitement and more views, and it worked well. So I'm thankful for that. I think it was just an image because of how hot the space is in terms of investment. It's been investing 4 times more than it was the year before. And in a variety of different type of companies. So I just wanted to try to clarify a little bit because people get confused and they kind of lump all of the startups together, from the Instacart, which is more about grocery delivery, to the HelloFresh, which is more about ingredient delivery, to the Just Eat type of models, to the Deliveroo or Munchery. So I think there were a lot of very different type of services, and journalists tend to kind of put everything together. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that a bit and explain that there are very different type of businesses with very different growth rates, scaling potential, and unit economics. And
there are different categories, of these new startups that are delivering food. You have, you are quite specialized into this field of delivery food. Could you just resume how does it work exactly? How the service is working?
So Just Eat, if you think about Just Eat's core consumer proposition, it's about connecting hungry people to those local restaurants that want to eat. I think what's really exciting about the industry is something Martin touched on there, which is convenience. You know, in the markets we operate in around the world, there's 23 billion pounds of consumer food consumed just in the takeaway category every year. And Martin's right to say that consumers are changing and demanding more very quickly. They want healthy, they want medium to high end, they want chains, they just don't want local takeaways. And I think that's a really exciting thing for us as a business, because I think the biggest challenge for Just Eat is what's in front of it. So the next 2, 3, 4 years, I think our business will evolve more than it probably has in the last 5, 10 years. And if I think about that from a product perspective, you know, we need to make sure we're investing heavily, therefore, in making sure we have a world-class engineered platform that not only has scale, but has the ability to connect consumers to every different type of food occasion they have through the week. And if we think about consumers as us, you know, you eat probably 35, 40 times a week. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between. Right now, Just Eat would address probably 2 or 3 occasions for you. But in the next 3, 4, 5 years, we won't address 2 or 3 occasions. We'll be addressing far more than that. And I think for us, that's incredibly exciting.
According to you, Martin, what is the, the value of Just Eat?
In what sense?
Yeah, the value, not the value of, financial statement, but what is the plus of
It's
the
about
of
3
Just Eat
billion
service,
pounds.
according to you? What is the plus?
So first, on the financial side, it's been probably our best investment to date at Index Venture. So I think it's really resonated with the market. It's a shift that has happened in many other industries, which is basically moving things from offline to online. So where you had to pick up the phone to make things happen, now moving it online and on mobile. So that's what Just Eat does. So every time you do that, you make it much more convenient for the consumer because it's always open, always on. There's much more transparency because you can track things much easier, and you can get feedback as well. So there's that virtuous loop that you make more orders, you bring more feedback, and you improve the overall quality of the experience.
You talk on your recent post on TechCrunch about a war. Who will be the next big actor of this field, of these new services?
I think most likely Just Eat will remain one because of their financial footing and the market they are addressing. It makes a lot of sense. So they are only doing the online part of the experience. And they're outsourcing the delivery to the local delivery guy. I think it makes sense for their market, which is really driven around choice and price. I think the next generation of startups are trying to integrate a bit more of the chain. But if you think about food delivery, there are 3 big steps, which is the ordering, the cooking, and the delivery of the food. And so Just Eat is really on the ordering part of things. But then the next generation of startup is entering a little bit more of the chain. So companies like Deliveroo or Take It Easy here in Paris integrate both the ordering and the delivery, and then they work with local restaurants. And then you've got a third type of startups which integrates everything. So they cook the food, they take the order, they cook the food, and then deliver it to you. So companies here in Paris like Pop Chef or Nestor or Food Cherry. So there are a bunch in every local market. And so I think we're going, given we're going to more and more convenience, I think that's where really the market's going to go.
You mentioned some other startups dedicated to delivery food. How do you see your main competitors and who they are?
I think Just Eat, our competitors are multi-layered, right? So in the space, of course, we must never ignore chains. I think one of the most important jobs that tech companies do the next 2, 3, 4 years is enable small, medium enterprise businesses, i.e. local restaurants, to continue to thrive and be relevant to consumers. Because one of the phenomenons you've seen in food in the United States, of course, is the rise of food chains. So I think one of the jobs of all the tech companies and all the startups is to make sure we really connect great local restaurants to the consumer, because that means they're getting the best possible choice of restaurants that they can have. In terms of our main competition, so it is chains. It's definitely, the new tech startups. We can never be complacent. One of the things I love about working in Just Eat is actually in 5 of our 15 countries, we are actually a startup. We're only a few years old, growing at several 100% year on year in those markets. So we've got to maintain that sort of culture of fighting to make sure we get the best market position. And I think the last thing we need to do, of course, go back to the age-old truth of all technology companies. We need to build the best product, right? We actually do some logistics. We do it in 5 countries around the world and about 15 cities now. So we'll definitely go further into the chain. But one of the things we want to do in terms of going further into the chain is building a delivery platform that enables the logistics that exist in the network to operate more efficiently, which we will give to those local takeaway restaurants in order to manage their drivers better and give transparency to the consumer at home.
Concerning this field of delivery food, what do you think, Martin? Do you think it's more a B2C service that is, more scalable, or a B2B service?
I think the beauty of models like Just Eat or Deliveroo is that they are both. So their customers are both the restaurant side, to which they bring more orders and more clients and more margin at the end of the day, and the consumer. And that's where they very light. It's a proper marketplace business. So Just Eat is kind of in a way, the best model, the purest model, because it's a pure software company. They don't have drivers in the street. They don't have anything operational, so it scales extremely well globally. The minus point of that is that they can't control the delivery experience, so they control the whole chain. I think companies like Deliveroo are interesting because they both control the consumer and the restaurant side, so they integrate inside the restaurant, but they also control the experience of the user in between with the delivery time. And in food, especially in delivering hot food, the delivery is everything. You need your food to come to you in less than half an hour so that it's warm. That's the most important thing that you want.
David, is your service Just Eat, a global service potentially?
Well, we already operate in every continent in the world, and we operate in 15 markets, from Australia to Brazil to Mexico to Canada to here in Western Europe. So we already are, in that sense, I guess, a global business. I think what you'll see from Just Eat, though, is this focus on the 15 countries we operate in. We've never said we want to be in 60, 70 markets around the world. We don't think that's the right way to build our business because, frankly, our business is so local that you need to focus and build really big positions in the markets you operate in. So, yes, we're global and we operate in every continent, but actually what you'll see us do is focus on the 15 markets we currently operate in.
Referencing, of your recent post, indeed. You mentioned 3 big challenges to win this war of delivery food. Can you just resume these 3 big challenges?
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I think
I'm going to help you.
I'm sure it was great, but I don't know what it was.
So you mentioned the first one is software oriented in a way.
So I think what I mentioned was more around what's coming next for this industry, and I was kind of predicting a bunch of stuff. Since then, I got a lot of feedback from the article, so I probably changed a bunch of my views. But I think at the time, what I said was that I think companies like Just Eat, which are pure software marketplace today, will have to do something around the delivery experience. I know that Delivery Hero is doing some stuff. I'd love to hear what Just Eat is doing from David. I think customers are expecting more and more from their experience. I'll give you a very, very simple example. So with Deliveroo, for a very long time, the first 2 years, there was no mobile app. And so there was no tracking of the driver. So you knew when your order would come, you couldn't see the driver on the map. When they released their app, they added a map where you could track the driver, which is the Uber experience. And when they first said that, I think the initial reaction is that it's just a gimmick, it's just a gadget. And then you try it, and the fact of seeing where your driver is exactly, and that maybe he's outside, you don't know, he doesn't know exactly where your flat is. You can just go downstairs, get your food. Those things are little detailed, but when you're operating in a very tight time frame in such a low margin industry, those details really matter a lot. And it's the kind of thing where once you've experienced it once as a consumer, you just expect it to be here. If you couldn't track your Uber driver on your phone, you would just find it odd.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing with this industry. So I think the pure software company will have to do something around that. I think maybe I'm wrong, but David can correct me. The other thing I was saying is that on the other end of the spectrum, that's it.
But the 2 challenges, just to end, is you mentioned on-demand marketplaces and drones, and that's a great transition for the next panel, I'll say so. Thank you so much, David and Martin. Big applause for you both. Thank you so much.